The Mombasa Friendship Festival saw an outpouring of miracles and healings. Here are the stories of 3 people who received from God. Fatuma is a mother of 6. For close to 10 years now, she had been deaf in one ear.
I received various treatments from the doctors, including applying medication to the affected ear, but none of these has helped me. An ear specialist said I had a hole in my ear and that it was impossible to hear in that ear. It has become a permanent problem that I live with.
That wasn't the kind of information Fatuma wanted to receive.
I was very sad because the situation is very painful and embarrassing. When I'm in the midst of people, I can't get involved in conversation, and quite often I feel they're laughing at me. Sometimes they frustratingly say, "Can't you hear us talking to you?" So I often keep to myself.
Through billboards in the city of Mombasa, Fatuma got to know about the Friendship Festival, and she was glad she attended.
At the festival ground, as the preacher was praying, I saw people putting their hands on their eyes, their head, and some lifting their hands. I placed my hands on my ears, and then I felt some heat in that ear. After the prayer, I took my hands away, and I noticed I was hearing in that ear. I told the person standing next to me that I could hear. She called the usher, who tested me and encouraged me to share my testimony.
10 years deaf on that ear. Mombasa. Arusha. Amen.
From what has happened, I can say that nothing is impossible with God. It doesn't matter the burden you are carrying. I know God is good and able.
My name is Harrison Mungwa. I am 60 years old. For the past 3 years, I've been paralyzed on the entire left part of my body.
Harrison had been working as a shepherd, but his life was brought to a halt because of his sickness.
I was assisting a newborn calf to feed, and I suddenly felt some sharp pain in my left leg, and then it shot up to my hand, and I felt it around my head. Suddenly, I fell to the ground. Foam started coming from my mouth, and I lost consciousness. Since that day, I've been paralyzed and have not been able to work. I've tried various medical treatments without success. I even tried 2 different religious groups for a while, with hopes that things would improve, but nothing happened. A doctor requested that I take a brain scan because he was concerned that the paralysis was affecting my brain. But this medical process is very expensive for me. I just relied on painkillers and support from my wife and children. I couldn't move around.
Harrison lives in the outskirts of Mombasa. It was a concerned relative who told him about the upcoming Friendship Festival.
My nephew called me and told me that Peter Youngren was coming to Mombasa, and so he was hoping that I will be able to attend. Instantly, I felt within my heart to attend this event. The day of the Friendship Festival, I was in severe pain. As Peter Youngren was preaching, he said that wherever you are in the field, God can come and heal you right there.
I don't have to touch you. He will come and touch you. Somebody 50 meters away is going to be healed. And at the same moment, somebody 10 meters away.
In my heart, I told myself that this is my miracle. And then as he prayed, I felt something pass through my body, causing me to shiver. I'd never felt this way before. I began to feel much stronger and better. As the pastor told us to go to the front, I was able to go up and climb onto the platform by myself with no assistance. Under normal circumstances, this was impossible.
He's got 2 miracles. The paralysis is gone, and his eyes have opened to see clearly.
I was glad to share my healing testimony and was able to run faster than the preacher man on stage. I'm really glad for what Jesus has done for me.
When 19-year-old Enoch was in 4th grade, he fell heavily on the ground while trying a pair of roller skates during recess at school.
Initially, I thought it was just one of those falls, so I did not even tell my parents about it. But days after this fall, I started experiencing regular headaches and dizzy spells. One day, I was on my way home from school for lunch, and I suddenly collapsed by the side of the road. I was rushed to the hospital, but the problem could not be diagnosed. As time went by, there was pressure building up at the back of my head until I could not handle it anymore. I could not concentrate in class and was regressing in my studies. Eventually, the principal asked that I take a break from school.
Enoch had to take time off school to receive medical attention.
I had my first operation here in Mombasa, but it was not successful. So I was taken in an ambulance to Nairobi. During surgery, the doctor found that a nerve from my spine to my brain was damaged and there was some form of brain tumor developing. The doctor said it would be risky to take out whatever was there.
God took our sin and put it on Jesus. Substitution. God put our sickness on Jesus. That's good news, Mombasa.
Then I found out about the Friendship Festival. When he started to pray for the sick, I asked God to let me fully recover from my prolonged ailment. After the prayer, I tried to do things I could not do before, and I realized I did it with ease and without pain. I've had 3 unsuccessful surgeries. This healing I've received from Jesus makes me feel energetic. For the first time in a long while, I walked a long distance today without feeling weak. God's goodness and mercy has lifted me up.